Testing, can you hear me? Yeah, I have no audio. Okay, not if you can hear me. Not a word. I don't know what's going on, man. Nice to see everybody.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I don't know what's going on. It's probably, who knows what Google is doing to us right now. I just did a whole segment on Rogue One. That's what
Nice.
I can read lips.
I'll go back and watch it later.
Guys, I really apologize. It's sometimes, the technology, it just, it's just all thumbs.
Mm-hmm. Well,
what I was saying, though, let me get it out since I'm all revved up now, is that I saw the trailer for Rogue One a couple days ago. It's one of those things to where they said, hey, we're going to show this. Don't record it.
Okay.
And then they showed it 3 times.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So, but I'm glad they did. Obviously, they wanted it to be, leaked, not leaked. But it takes place in between episode 3 and episode 4. And it's also where there's no Jedi. Now, we all know we have to kind of suspend disbelief that 20 years ago, 18 years ago, everyone just forgot about Jedis completely, even though everyone's... Anyway, whatever. I give it to him.
All right.
It gave us some cool lines from Han Solo. Whatever. All right, I'm down.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
So, again, thanks everybody for hanging in there for those few moments of panic silence. What it is, it's supposed to take place in a gritty time period where they don't have any magic, and that kind of stuff, no force and everything. And it's basically the story of them stealing the plans for the Death Star. The trailer is this TIE fighter going through a forest area, and then the camera follows it to where it goes up into the sky, and then it shows the Death Star. Obviously the original Death Star from when they, again, the Bothans. I don't know.
What is it with Death Stars and foresty planets? Were there any furry indigenous life forms that you saw in the trailer?
I didn't, and I don't think it's not indoor. It's obviously not indoor. Maybe there's something in the forest mulch that they need to power the shield generators or whatever.
Probably the souls of the indigenous furry life forms.
Yeah, has to be. Maybe it's the Wookiee planet. My son told me. Yeah. My son told me that. He's like, what planet the Wookiee? He actually told me that today. So
were the trees like huge old trees?
It's hard to tell. In relation to the TIE fighter, they seem pretty big.
Okay, because showing my Star Wars nerd here, Darth Vader's up the bat.
Nice. But, I'm also repping the shirt. I got it.
Yep.
Target.
Very nice. But the trees in Kashyyyk are supposed to be so big that they're like city-sized or whatever. Like there's like the canopy and everything. Yep. And then the ground you're not supposed to be able to see because it's so dark and scary things live there, and the Wookiees hunt them for, honor and all that.
That's pretty cool. Justin, looks like you got in too, finally.
Yeah, a tech pre-saved me.
That's good.
That's good, yeah.
Man, we're having some rough times tonight. Again, nobody could even hear me for a while.
Yeah, the Machine God was not pleased with me when I logged on like 15 minutes ago. It took me 10 minutes to get my internet working.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure it out since 9:30. So.
Hey, we're here now, and that's what's important. This is a very special day to me. It is Star Wars Day, as is known, and tomorrow we've got Revenge of the Fifth. This fell on a Monday. I had to work. Last year it was on a weekend. We actually had a Star Wars party at my place where we showed all the movies that were available at the time. As close to the originals as we could. Even now, look, I'm not a huge fan of the original. I'm sorry, of the prequels.
Yeah.
But I do like them, and of course you cannot you can't trash talk the graphics and all of the special effects.
Yeah.
And the lightsaber fights were just really cool. I mean, if you ignore all the dialogue, most of it was pretty awesome.
You do have to, yeah. You got to, yeah. You got to, yeah. But you know,
Man, some of that dialogue was so classic, though.
not in episode 1 through 3.
Wow.
I truly, deeply
those don't exist.
like this dialogue.
Yeah, but you know, they're a big fan with the kids. I mean, honestly, when you're trying to create new fans, I can kind of see where it was going. I'm not trying to defend some of the choices in any way, shape, or form, other than the fact that obviously, if you want to make something for kids, you did it, and then you want to sell it for $4 billion to Disney. Thank goodness that happened.
Yeah, I mean, the way that I look at it, man, it was so cool to, like, my dad when he was young, he grew up with Star Wars. He's, you know. And then all these things started coming out, and I was born a couple of years after Star Wars was done. And then now I'm able to join into that experience with him, even though they were terrible. But I was able to join into that experience with him and share that love, you know, that was generated back when the original movies came out.
When
So
they
I thought it was
released
great.
Episode 1 again, like in 3D or something, I took my oldest to it, and I sat there in the theater, and I was cringing every single time Jar Jar said anything.
Jar Jar in 3D.
Getting a
you know,
twitch just thinking about it.
he loved it. You know, I've now paid, you know, maybe close to, you know, $1,000 to see Episode 4 in the theaters over the course of the time. You know,
Seriously.
But seeing him light up and having a good time for the 3D, I didn't mind doing
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still haven't, with my son, I haven't shown him episodes 1, 2, and 3 yet.
You gotta watch the Machete Order. There's like, I think it's called the Machete Order, where you and somebody can look it up and maybe post in the chat like what the order is, but you don't watch them, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You watch like 4, 2, 5, 3. You know, it bounces around, and it's supposed to give you like a much different experience, especially if you've never seen them before.
I'll have to look that up. Yeah.
I've not done that, but I hear it's awesome.
Sometimes I watch episode 5, 5, 5, 5, 5.
Yeah. Oh, they used to come on USA all the time, like after they released them out on VHS or whatever, and every time I saw them on, I'd watch them. So Star Wars, very important to me. When I was very, very young, I would be taken to watch Star Wars in drive-ins. I saw Star Wars, the original Star Wars, 52 times in the theater.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of times. I've probably seen it at least that many times in my life, but then again, I wasn't born when Star Wars first came out. So
I know, I'm ancient. Ricky's coming and saving us, as the Machete Cut is episode 4, 5, 2, 3, and 6 in that order.
No 1?
No, you don't watch 1 at all.
That's the rule.
Yeah, but you know, that scene where Obi-Wan takes on Darth Maul is actually awesome.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and the music and everything was perfect.
You know, when he's on the other side of the shield or whatever, he's like, he just gets in there and it's like
getting hype.
So awesome. I mean, that's what it makes me. And I'm sorry, I know I jump right into it because this is one of my passions or whatever. But you get that feel he really is channeling the greatness of Alec Guinness's acting. Now, like I know that we saw Obi-Wan as the old man. We never saw him like do the special effects, but you got that sense that he could really get down. You know.
Yeah.
Just from the acting or whatever. And then that scene in episode, I think it was 3, when he looks down, it's like General Grievous and like 100 droids, and he's like, you know what? F it. It just jumps down and starts wailing. You know, I love that. Those are the parts I love from those.
And it was a good moment when he picks up the blaster. Spoiler alert. He's just like, it's so uncivilized. You know, after he's done blasting him, it's just like, I never expected that. Just for that alone, I thought it was great because I simply did not expect him to pick up a blaster ever. So
I don't know why every Star Wars villain has to ride like a moped. They've all got, like, go through the movies, like they all have some version of a moped except Darth Vader. Darth Vader never rides a scooter.
He doesn't need a moped. His body is the moped.
He's ascended beyond moped.
So let me get some shout-outs. David, man, I know, I'm sorry I couldn't hear us. Kelly, K, man, good to see you. I know you're jumping back into it after being gone a while. Steve Booley, awesome. Lou, Bill, Troy, got Armada. Man, that's awesome. Let us know what you think of the game, man. I know you play all kind of games. I'd love to hear how you think it compares to some of the other games out there. Jake, man, thanks for joining in. I know you're a big X-Wing player. I'd love to hear some of your list through the course of this thing. Lamont, Ricky, I said, what's up, Void Wraith Prime? Justin, I'm glad you finally made it into the, the actual...
I found my way in there. Where's it at? There.
I want to hear people's questions. I want to see people's random Star Wars fact knowledge tonight.
Oh,
all
guys
the
are
things you can think of.
Way too young to have the Jedi Master's quiz book. Had that, and it was like this 50-page book about Star Wars just trivia. You know, like which Moff was the pilot. It was the commander of which Star Destroyer, and you know.
Now, I can tell you Grand Moff Tarkin was the one on the Death Star, but I don't know many other Moffs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just giving some example or whatever. It's like the craziest stuff.
What a lot of people don't know is TPM's actually 68. The boyish good looks have done him good.
Close. No, said Craig, man, good to see you. Said he's in the future. He's in Japan. And this is the Golden Week, and everyone calls that GW. It's the GW holiday.
I've got some words for enough said Craig. どうもありがとうございます。今日はスター・ウォーズデーです。今、私たちはすごく喜んでいます。
Oh, I hope you didn't say anything bad.
I said that we're very happy that it's Star Wars Day.
I know. I'm just kidding with you. Star Wars, there's obviously everyone posts news stuff, and on days like this. But Star Wars actually saved Marvel. Back in the day, for the Star Wars comic, they got free licensing to do that before the movie came out. And then, of course, when the movie came out, everyone went and bought the comic, which allowed Marvel to keep on doing Marvel stuff. And now, how weird is it? Now they're both owned by Disney, and we get to have all of this stuff in one place.
Yeah.
Fun fact, George Lucas directed the Howard the Duck movie, which was the first ever Marvel movie.
Was that the first Marvel movie?
Yeah, it was supposedly that was the first ever Marvel movie. Was that?
I could see that.
The Duck movie.
Guilty pleasure. Love that movie.
Howard the Duck has such a cult following.
Yeah.
So much cult following that they put him in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I went to the comic shop just a few days ago for Free Comic Book Day, and they had Howard the Duck on some of the cover of the couple major Secret War type stuff that's coming up. Huh. He's going to be a part of the ending of the Marvel Universe and Rebirth.
Weird. I don't know.
I like the movie. I don't know about if I'm down with all that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I got no idea.
I can't get this stupid camera right.
I'd love to hear where you are in Japan, Craig, by the way. I lived there for a couple of years. So if you were in the Osaka or Kyoto or Kobe area, I'd love to get a shout-out for you there. That's awesome.
Is that where the beef's from?
Kobe beef, yes.
Okay. I know
one of the weirdest ways to make beef.
A very tasty place. Okay, here's a question we got. How do you destroy a Sun Crusher? You want to know what a Sun Crusher is?
Luke,
No, Sun Crusher. Yeah. Luke could probably do it. Yeah, a Sun Crusher, if I remember correctly, it can go in and actually destroy suns. It's basically indestructible. It can go into the core of planets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I have no idea how to destroy it. Varing 404 is saying you throw it into a black hole. I'm gonna buy that. If that's not correct, somebody let him know.
I was gonna say an exhaust port, but that's probably a better answer.
Well, it's small. It's the size of if I remember right, it's the size of a fighter craft.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it probably has a tailpipe you could put a banana in, but that might be the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gabriel's saying he knew Senator Palpatine was the Sith Emperor as soon as we saw him. Yeah, that's how weird. I know that if you weren't such a a scholar of the originals, you might not know that it was the same actor. But to me, I was obviously I know where this is going. But I mean, we all knew where it was going.
I remember as a kid, because I was Star Wars kid in like elementary school, in which that was before the new movies were coming out, and I remember getting in an argument with this kid who was a massive Star Trek fan, and he was always going off, oh well, the Enterprise could beat the Star Destroyer and blah 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 blah.
Not on his best day.
And but he had the biggest argument with me over the fact that Senator Palpatine was going to turn into Emperor Palpatine and that he was Darth Sidious. He would not accept that ever.
How on earth? Hey.
I was like, time will tell, and it did.
My mind is blown.
Time told. And then Gabriel also asked, did Yoda ever fight Darth Plagueis before the Star Wars series began? I don't think so. I don't think that they ever interacted with each other. I think he was like deep undercover and didn't come out until later on in the expanded type universe. But so again, somebody, please correct me if I'm wrong on that. Somebody needs to be on which one of y'all wants Wikipedia detail?
Ooh, I got it. That's my source of all my papers.
So Craig, you're up in Sapporo. Man, you must be freezing. Well, maybe not so much this time of year, but man, I mean, the snow there gets really thick.
Varney's coming through, backing up my knowledge, saying that the Stun Crusher is fighter-sized, and they fire torpedoes into stars. I thought it burrowed itself into stars, but yeah, whatever.
I remember there were like these destroyers of worlds or whatever, and like they were like these giant black boxes that kind of had like 4 thrusters on the bottom, and they could destroy planets. And
that was out of the Dark Horse comic, didn't it? Like go around and like eating. It was basically crawled around and destroyed the planet that way.
Yeah, it kind of floated. I remember they actually made a level, like a bonus level, based off of that in the original Star Wars Rogue Squadron. I think it was an N64 game.
Okay.
And you could be a V-wing, which was like a hovercraft with cluster missiles, and you had to try and blow up the thrusters so that it would fall into the ocean. I think it was like Mon Calamari or something.
That makes sense.
That was a good series of games too. The Rogue Squad. I don't know if you guys played those, but
I didn't play them. But that was kind of in the time when I wasn't really messing with video games.
For the sake of the fact that I might be a few responsible beverages deep, what am I looking up?
just have Wikipedia on standby.
Yeah.
The Wikipedia, yeah, just have Wikipedia. Although David's saying that Plagueis did not fight Yoda, and I didn't think so. I thought that he was like a rodent in the original Sith, and then whatever. He's the most powerful Sith ever. He's cool. Don't get me wrong, but Troy's asking, do we like the Clone Wars? I love the Clone Wars. Yes. I think that was such a breath of fresh air. And when we were kind of in a down point for Star Wars.
Yeah, I watched that with my son. He gets into it, and he gets into everything. Big imagination on that kid. But yeah, I think that I mean, I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but I think that did some really good things for Star Wars and for keeping people invested in it, despite the fact that it's been years since any original content, so far as movies, has come out.
What they did was great for the whole, all of us, and they gave us, even if you only kind of didn't watch the show, you still probably know about things that happened in the Clone Wars. For instance, like everybody's hot up on Mace Windu, basically for a lot of things that he did in the Clone Wars. Just despite I know he took out Jango Fett. By the way, all Fetts have what I refer to as a faulty gene. I have a name for it. I'm not going to say it here on air, but they all die like chumps. The chump gene, I'll say that. All Fetts. So and that's why stormtroopers can't hit anything. That's why Homeboy bumps his head on the blast door. That is why that Mace Windu took out Jango Fett. That's why Blonde Han Solo was able to take out Boba Fett. Because the Fetts choke. That's why.
I will tell you this, though. Stormtroopers are not actually clones anymore because the clones all died out because of their accelerated growth. But the Stormtroopers, the reason they can't hit anything, the way it was justified in some comic or another, was because they were all brought in with very little training to fill the ranks of all of the clones that were dying, and so that's why I can't hit anything, because they're all greenies.
Yeah, I give conscripts. You know, I've fired plenty of BS2 guns.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of writing some rules for that Star Wars Fantasy Flight game, the one that came out with the minis. With
Rebel Assault?
Yeah, Rebel Assault.
Yeah.
And all of my stormtroopers were either BS1 or BS2 for the rules that I wrote for that.
That's hilarious. Somebody beat you to it. There's that, those fan-made codexes out there for the Imperial and the Rebels. Very, very well put together.
Yeah, those look
awesome
good.
Stuff. So as far as the stormtroopers and stuff go, yeah. I mean, obviously they, whatever. But I do not like Boba Fett because I am a Han Solo fan. And let me tell you one of the most just absolutely epic scenes. All right, it's in Empire Strikes Back. I mean, obviously one of the best movies of all time. When Lando's leading him to dinner, and the door opens and there's Boba Fett there. Han does not even blink. He just puts his hand back, get back, Leia, I got this, and starts blasting. No hesitation, knowing he's fighting the worst, baddest mamma jamma in the universe, protects his lady, starts blasting.
And he doesn't miss either.
Yeah. Yeah, no hesitation, no choking, no firing off. It's just right in his grill. Yes. Absolutely.
Probably pretty good he didn't shoot Lando first before he turned the gun.
I'll give him that. A little bit of disbelief. You don't want to shoot your buddy. All right. But speaking of Lando, in Star Wars Rebels, and I hope I'm not spoiling this for anything, Lando makes an appearance.
I heard about that, yeah. And it's voiced by the same actor.
Yeah, oh yeah. Billy D. Williams?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how cool is Billy D? It's that was one of the most, as a kid, I mean, obviously, when you look back, and I've seen obviously a lot, because there's lots of things that we just know, and it's a movie that we know what it is and what it ends up being. But when they're in Jabba's palace the first time and you're seeing all the characters that you recognize, I know that's Lando, I know that's whatever. But I didn't. The first time I saw it, I didn't think that was Leia in the bounty hunter costume or the thermal detonator.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think that was Leia. I don't think I'm the only one.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Especially with the creepy come on in here voice that she had going on.
Varing's saying that Boba Fett is actually Jaster Muriel, totally different origin, and he survived that Sarlacc pit. Boba is the boss. I know that I might be in the minority, not digging on Boba Fett.
I think he's cool, just from a look and if you play Knights of the Old Republic and the way the Mandalorians are in there, the first and the second one. I mean, those guys were total bad A's. They were basically the scariest guys. They fought this big war. They made the universe shake before they went down with a bang. And he's the last remnant of that some however many thousand years later.
Are you talking about Jaster, or are you talking about Boba Fett?
Fett. He's a Mandalorian. So these super awesome warrior culture. And I think it was their homeworld ended up getting blown up or something. But don't quote me on it. I haven't played
Justin,
it in years.
hit Mandalorian Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, that's right.
Page, and then let us know what happened to the Mandalorian home planet. I met Jeremy Bullock at a convention, and he confirmed that Boba Fett was dead in the Sarlacc pit. Now, we're going to see different things, and that's cool, man. I have no problem with fan service. I don't like Deadpool in comics, but I understand that he, sometimes he's the foil, sometimes he adds context for some of my favorite characters. I get it. I'm not really hating. It's if we had to pick kickball teams and Han Solo had a kickball team over here and Boba Fett had a kickball team over here, I'm going over here into Han Solo camp.
Yep.
Or if we're playing Red Rover and Boba Fett tries to get through the line or whatever, he's getting a clothesline. He ain't getting through. So that's the level that I understand about. I get it. But
now this webcast is now suitable for young children. They understand.
I've given context through the use of Boba Fett. I get to see a question here is could you get Star Wars Micro Machines and play Armada? Fantasy Flight put the whole entire rules for Armada up on their website. So download it and play with bottle caps. You're going to want the ships, though. The ships are so cool.
Yeah, the scale's a little off for the capital ships. But I kept all my old Micro Machines there in a box in storage for when my son gets big enough to not, put them in his mouth and choke and die. But I also have in the room over here. I'm not going to go get them because it would take a minute. All of the original action figures that were released within the 1977 and 78. I have all the old ones with the little lightsaber that slides out of your wrist in the most awkward way possible. Yep, got all those.
Sweet. Kelly's saying, why does everyone hate the dialogue in the first movie? Minus Jar Jar. He said, other than Jar Jar, what was so bad? Like, really, I think for me, there's just all the inconsistencies in the plot. That's what gets when they're talking. Sometimes I throw up in my mouth, like my own mouth is filled with my own bile because I know that what they're saying makes no sense with my childhood. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I mean there was with the little kid, and it's hard to get kids to act like you're not exactly Sean Penn when you're 10 years old, but. Just a lot of his dialogue. Not to say that he didn't try hard or whatever. And honestly, what kind of pressure is it to be a 10-year-old and you are the young Darth Vader? How would that feel? But it just a lot of his dialogue really hurt. And I just remember the worst one for me is when he's in the Naboo starfighter and he's coming out of the bay that's exploding and he's like, "Whoa!" It's just like. Oh, come on, kid.
David's saying he played his first game of X-Wing on Saturday and he bought the Scum and Villainy box. I think that's cool, man. That game, or that set, when you add that third bit of the faction into the game, it really breaks it open. So it gives you, and I think it's neat that you can use, if you pick up aftermarket, the dials for some of the Y-Wings and that kind of stuff. You can use if you have Rebel Y-Wings, I don't think anybody's going to mind. You just need the right cards and dials.
Yeah.
But I think the Scum opens up some really cool builds.
They got probably some of the funnest rules so far.
What's up with the Mandalorians? Justin, you had a task.
Yeah. So it's a big page here.
We might have chosen poorly for who is RS.
Our reader guy, we forgot. We forgot we shouldn't have Justin read it for us.
I'm skimming through. So we're looking for if the planet's gone.
Well, we know it's gone. What killed it? Right.
The Vong.
Or we assume it's gone.
The Vong. Something about the Vong.
This is now suddenly less appropriate for children.
You now have to. Okay, we've gone off from informative to just look it up yourself on Wikipedia.
It's no okay. So I'm reading it and it doesn't have it doesn't really have the true nature of what's going on. It's just talking about their species, or not their species, but their battle culture, blah 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 blah.
We'll come back to that.
I'm still digging.
Gabriel's saying that
I'm on it.
Books, The Emperor's Son with one eye. I don't know anything about that. Which book was that from? Now, okay, when I quit even bothering with the expanded stuff in the books when Leia was supposedly, even if it was just mentally unfair or unfaithful to Han, I was like, you know what? I'm not reading this junk anymore.
That's what I just said.
The first Star Wars book that I read was Shadows of the Empire with Dash Rendar, and it kind of came out at the same time that N64 game came out. You guys know which one I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. That was
a fun game and an awesome book. And interestingly enough, the ships that they used, the fighters that they used at the end of that game, that kind of had the they kind of opened up like flowers, sort of. No, I'm not even going to try and make hand signals about it. But what they ended up using that for is they turned that around in the Knights of the Old Republic game. In the second one, they used that same ship for the Mandalorian drop pods. Basically, it's like a Space Marine drop pod, except for Star Wars people.
Pretty cool. Lord Ghoul is asking how Darth Maul got killed. He said that was the worst scene in the whole series. Let me explain something to you. This is where I hope we can still be buddies after I explain this. Obi-Wan is a badass. That's why he got killed. But let me also state that I think killing Darth Maul that early in the series was a huge mistake.
Yeah.
I thought the fight scene was great. I thought the music was great. I enjoyed that whole scene, even with Qui-Gon getting killed or whatever. It was a little convenient plot-wise or whatever, but I do think it was a huge mistake killing off Darth Maul that early. And then Count Dooku was almost like irrelevant. Like,
yeah,
just like, I mean, don't get me wrong, he is cool. I'm sorry, I'm spacing on somebody like his real name. Somebody hit me with Dooku's real name, Saruman.
Oh, Christopher Lee. You're
yes.
talking about Christopher Lee.
Yes,
the actor.
Yeah. Actor was great, but like the whole, like he didn't even need to be in the movie.
No, I agree.
And like here, the Wheaties cereal actually spoiled Dooku early. They put him on it was supposed to be like guess who's the villain or whatever, and he's on Wheatie Box. So before the movie came out, whatever, some interesting trivia. But Dooku could have still been in the movie, but they should not have killed Darth Maul that early. He should have lasted at least until the second movie.
Yeah, I'm reading the Wikipedia, and it looks like Mandalore, the planet, according to Wikipedia, is not actually blown up. So now I'm looking to see which planet was blown up.
A lot of planets get Ray Park. BC saying Ray Park is legit. I agree. He is a cool guy. I've had the privilege of meeting him at these conventions I go to every now and then. Very friendly, happy to talk to you a little bit, while he's signing and stuff like that. Really good guy, and I think the roles, like the fantasy, like the nerd roles he's been able to play, I think he really enjoyed doing it, and is happy to have the fans like us.
Malachor 5. Malachor 5 is the planet.
Jake says Mandalore isn't gone and the Vong don't exist. Way to go, Justin.
No, I'm going to screenshot this and I'm going to prove you wrong.
You sent that to him in a message. And Jake saying also Darth Maul isn't dead. There has been some talk about him coming back with like robot legs or whatever, but whatever.
He's gone.
Yeah. There was something about him. He was in the Clone Wars series for a little bit. I haven't gotten to that point in the series itself.
Oh, yeah, there he goes. Jake's saying in the Clone Wars he's robot parts on the ways down.
Yep.
Well, okay.
Which is a fate worse than death.
I guess I can see that.
I get it.
So anyway, I do think as far as like in the movies, they should have kept him until at least midway through episode 2 or whatever, because that would have been an awesome like breakup, like this huge fight that takes place in the middle of episode 2, and then they get on with the rest of that junk. Maybe whatever. There could have been a way better lead up to Anakin start killing kids, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anything could have happened, different. He could have gotten a cold cup of coffee that morning, and it would have made more sense than what had happened.
Yeah, I mean, episode 1 just the whole thing for me. It felt bland going in. It was trying to tell a story, but it wasn't doing it well. Kind of like me reading.
Yeah. So. Kelly K saying that he loved the interaction between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. I did too.
Yeah.
I really did. If they had just not talked about midichlorians, I'd have been, happier individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liam Neeson does a great job too. Whatever he's in, he does a really good job.
Public service announcement: don't take things from Liam Neeson.
No,
he will come get him.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Did you guys? This is a little off topic. Did you see one of the trailers for that movie where it was the song that they had written, and the lyrics were like, "Why is everybody always taking my like?"
No.
It's like it has Liam Neeson, and he's like trying to put a shoe on, so he puts one shoe on, and he looks away, and then this hand comes from off the screen and takes the other shoe, and then he turns around and he can't find it. He's like, "Why is everybody always taking my shit?"
Yeah, you do not want to be taking stuff from Liam Neeson.
No.
Yeah, then half of France is dead.
All right, you guys got to look up this Jaster Muriel guy, because I might be able to get behind this whole Boba Fett thing if he's not Boba Fett anymore.
Just a what?
Yeah, Jaster Muriel. It's in the comments.
Call it.
More reading.
Yeah, and Jay saying he didn't like Dooku that much either. Maybe he had a place. I could see, but it's like they just like threw him in there for almost like no reason. But he's obviously he's really dead. So what do you do? Lord Gold's saying all he needed to do was have Anakin strike down Mace Windu, and the whole thing makes sense instead of Anakin crying himself like a baby killing on the dark side. Yeah, I'm with you.
That was kind of the actor's fault too. I mean, he had a good look about him, but like he was sounding like this when he was just and then if they had done one thing to make Episode 3 better, the number one thing that I would have picked for them to do, aside from just that whole dialogue between Anakin and Padme, "You're breaking my heart," but like if that end scene where where's Padme, and she's dead.
That's terrible.
And then he's like, "No."
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. James Earl, I hope they paid him a lot of money too.
Yeah. Well, if they had just cut out the no and just left it quiet where he's just quietly crushing everything, that would have been a lot more powerful and Darth Vader-y.
I agree. Completely agree.
Ask questions that don't have long Wikipedias.
So Star Wars and gaming. I mean, how cool is it that we get to almost every single move of the game we get to relive some of this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I played Armada. I played some X-Wing. I have not played as much X-Wing now as I have Armada. So I'm interested, but it's making me want to go revisit X-Wing again, especially as we're starting to get some of these big. Like I like the medium-sized ships. I was really happy when the Millennium Falcon and Slave One came out, but I'm liking the other ones that have come out.
Well, the Star Destroyer is coming.
Yeah.
Very soon. I'm very pumped.
Yep.
One of the things I love about the Star Wars franchise is that, like, it gives you a reason to make a game out of it. And that's one of the things about Star Trek. I mean, obviously one of the two is better. And I love both of them. But like no one wants to make a video game about flying around and
scouting,
talking,
scanning things.
Now you say I've played several Star Trek video games.
Diplomatic stuff.
I've only played one. There's only been one that I've been able to find it. It was like it was a long time ago as a Super Nintendo game. And basically, all I would do is I would warp speed to whatever random planet I could think of, hoping that some Romulan would come and ambush me so that I could shoot him.
Yep. Okay. I can see that. But in a war game, you don't need a narrative. Like you don't necessarily. Now it helps, in my opinion, it helps. But you don't necessarily need one. So that's why I think Star Trek can survive because they have interesting looking ships.
No, the ships are cool, and until Deep Space Nine, because like Deep Space Nine is when they really embrace the idea of ship-to-ship conflict. I had the one big battle they did against the Jem'Hadar.
I should have kept watching that show. I tuned out. I should have kept watching it though. From what I understand, it had the best battles.
I had that recorded, and I used to watch it over and over again. I had all my Star Trek Micro Machines that always lost in the fights to my Star Wars Micro Machines.
Fair enough.
But I had all of them, and I would recreate the battle because I was that kind of nerdy kid. But it was really cool. I think what they've done with the Star Trek tabletop game, at least now that they have something like that out, I think that's cool. I'm glad that that's out there. But and I have a ton of respect for Star Trek: The Next Generation. I grew up watching that show. I love that show. But it's just it's not as easy for the testosterone male in me to get into as dogfighting in an X-Wing.
Yeah, it's not that kind of show, though,
Mm-hmm. Sean Bailey's saying that he went out and bought a bunch of Imperial Salt expansion packs to celebrate May the 4th.
Nice.
I think that's awesome. I hear Rebel Assault is like a great game, even for I've not played it. So somebody tell me how cool it is and expect me to, or entice me to go out there and get it because I want it. I want an excuse.
That's the RPG.
Flab Luker is saying that he thought it was kind of silly that they couldn't sense the most powerful Sith in the universe at the time, right there in their midst. I also think that was a little bizarre. But
they didn't know that Sith were bad. Oh, so that what they didn't know, like they could have been sensing something, but just didn't know that it was a Sith.
I don't want to try to make sense of it. I just want to. It's something. It is now something in my past that I'm not proud of.
All right.
Lord Ghoul's asking, he's like, "What's better, Armada or X-Wing?"
X-Wing. No, I'm just kidding. They're both
coming from one that hasn't played.
No,
right?
Armada is a different game. I mean, you got to do different things. Where X-wing, I think X-wing is a little more visceral. Like you can actually feel it, like with the barrel rolls and and like it's like it has that kind of sense of gravity as you're in a dogfight. And Armada is not. It's more kind of a big picture. You're looking at like it's more naval-ish combat.
It's chess and checkers. That's the best way I can put it.
That's fair. I think that's fair, but not trivializing it in any way. I think that's very fair to say.
No, like for comparison's sake, yeah, I totally agree. No, I think that it's
jump
fun.
around real fast. That's X-wing. Chess, plot your movements. You got a lot of things going on at once. That's Armada. It's very calculated. Checkers is a little bit more forgiving. X-wing is a little more forgiving.
Mm-hmm. Well, I taught someone how to play Armada on Sunday. It was his first game with it, and I had him play as the Rebels because I feel like the Rebels, at least in the starter set, the ships are easier to get kind of the tactics around because you don't have to plan as far in advance, so you don't know exactly what, like if you're an Imperial player playing your first game, you don't plan for turn 3 on turn 1.
Yeah.
So I was playing the Imperials, and it was a pretty fun game, and the most frustrating part was I got his frigate down to 1 hit point left, right? And he manages to maneuver it and repair it, and he stays just 1 away from me blowing him up the whole rest of the game. And until he finally gets out of range and he just keeps repairing, and I'm just like, I was so close to killing you. It was intense. And there was a huge old dogfight right in the middle where it was basically all of the fighter squadrons except one just, fighter squadroning, dogfighting. It was great. I loved it. Good times.
I've got some info on Jaster Muriel. I had to look this up. He is and it's like in the comics. His symbol is later used by Boba Fett. It's the symbol with like the leaf with the
chipped horn.
Yeah. Pretty cool. I'm actually going to investigate that after this show.
Yeah, it's a lot of information to try to sift through to answer a fine-tuned question.
You had one job.
Well.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Fair enough.
So, Armada versus X-Wing versus Imperial Assault. I mean, it's everywhere you turn now, and it's fun. And you can break them out and play them over the course. In the same time it takes to play other large-scale war games, you could play 2 or 3 times, which I think is kind of neat.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about having space, is it's space. As long as you have.
In half my games of Armada, I have flown my ship off the table. I've flown my ship off the table. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not happy about it, and I feel like a bad general because of it. But I've flown right off the table.
I did that my first game, and ever since then I've been pretty good. So Paul, I'm never gonna make you my helmsman.
No, it's like full steam ahead.
You can be my wingman, but not my helmsman.
Okay, so going into the end of this year, we're obviously going to see more and more Star Wars stuff. Yep. Like we're going to see expansions for Armada. There's no way we're not going to see expansions for X-Wing. I mean, Fantasy Flight is a juggernaut, and they do so well with their licensing. It is hard not to be a fan of their games.
Yo, if Fantasy Flight bought GW, there it is. I win. Everybody wins.
Everyone would win, but it's, is that the chocolate and the peanut butter kind of thing? I don't know what's good there. I do like organized play, and the more that we get into it, the further we get down the road with some of these games, and I don't know, we don't even get to see how X-Wing and Armada would expand into certain things because we already have rules for organized play.
Yeah, right at the gate, man. And
I don't think it's slowing down what they sell. And I'm really not sure that it's changing the buying patterns of people.
Well, a cool thing with X-Wing is you almost have to buy everything because there's good cards in every set. So even like if you're an Imperial player, there might be a card in one of those Rebel packs that you get that is really good for you. And so, you're kind of inclined to buy everything, and it's not expensive, really. You're looking at, $12-15, and you're getting all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, how weird is it when it first came out? People were like, man, I'm not paying like $15 for one of these ships. And now it's like, I need more ships. I got to have more ships.
Well, one thing I would like to see, like if we're talking about organized play and Fantasy Flight in Games Workshop, how successful do you think it would be if they just turned over organized play to a company like Fantasy Flight?
They won't.
And just kept, they kept doing their thing, and they basically just kind of said, all right, if you guys want to play organized and have it be official, these guys are creating a international rule set for that, and Fantasy Flight could release it for free.
Games Workshop wants you to play with whatever narrative you want. If you really like certain things, they want you to play with them. That's what they want. And I can't say that's wrong. Yeah, I can't say that's wrong.
Yeah.
So okay, here's a good question: is that if you could pilot any of the ships in Star Wars, and then once you called it, no one else can call it. So if you could choose a single Star Wars ship to captain, once you call, none of the other FTN folks can call it. What's your pick? And I'll go last.
So, by pilot, are you saying run the ship or actually fly the ship? Because I'll give you two answers. Answer number one: if it's run the ship, it's a Super Star Destroyer. Bar none. That thing is awesome. Bigger the better.
Go big or go home.
And if it's one to fly around, then the Corellian Corvette, basically the Millennium Falcon equivalent, has always been my favorite because, like Paul, Han Solo's always been my favorite.
The Corvette is the thing that they're running from Star Destroyer in the first. You're thinking about the YT.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. The freighter. The freighter is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, the freighter. Yeah.
What is it? YT 4200 or something.
It's
like that.
on my show right now. I was just trying to look at it, but I probably looked silly.
So I would probably pick Slave One. That would be Boba's little funny ship.
Yep.
A name? Ooh, goodness. Like a Star Wars name, or like just a name?
What are you talking
You
about?
gotta think. I'm a simple man, so shake and bake.
No, I don't know if I don't know what we name our ships. I mean, I know what I name mine. The first ship I typically name in any game is the Naughty Widow.
Nice.
That's what I go with. I'm gonna go.
My Storm Ravens is named the ex-wife, so I guess it makes sense.
Blue Lotus.
I'm going with Dark Vader's TIE Advance. I think that would probably, and especially after playing that video game, it's a Dave and Buster's where he just takes it to the rebels.
Yeah.
Like, not gonna lie, this is like you get it. It's like this dude's angry. And it does work. I would go with that, and if I could any other ship pass, like if we're going capital ships, I'm picking the Death Star.
That's a space station, but I'll give it to you. And Jake is calling me out. He's saying a single A-wing took down the Super Star Destroyer, but if I was in charge of that Super Star Destroyer, like my window would be a shield generator. So, like, there are certain liberties I would take with the design of the ship, but. Yeah. No, I mean, that wouldn't have happened if the other ships hadn't been firing at it. And if I had to name it, I would name it Vitarus after Mephistopheles' sword.
Well, I'm glad we got as nerdy as possible.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. That's what this whole day is for. For reveling in the stuff that we love. So I mean, there's absolutely no shame in it. I know I looked at every single meme that came through every feed today if it was Star Wars related. I sent my wife a few.
Did you see the one? Well, you saw the message I put in for the one that I wanted to make, but I don't have the resources to make it. You know which one I'm talking about?
Yes.
I don't know. My phone is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I felt that considering Dante's age, that line was.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
You can't just leave everybody hanging. You got to tell them what it is.
All right. So imagine a picture of not Mephistopheles. I really like Mephistopheles. I'm sorry, of Dante, and like say the one from the colored picture where he's got his pistol up front, his axe back here, and he's saying, when 1,000 years old you reach, look as good you will not.
Okay, cool. Yes, I agree with that.
So That was my very small contribution to a 40K Star Wars Day crossover meme.
Fair enough. So you're going to be a big year. Right now, there's some other things leaked. If you play Disney Infinity, they leaked Star Wars characters today. I don't know if it was today or in the last couple of days or whatever, but Clone Wars characters for the Star Wars or Disney Infinity game. It's like the
Skylanders
kind of like the Skylanders type stuff. Yeah. So that's if you're into that. By the way, I think Skylanders. There's a couple of them that would make great demon princes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like this style so much for my kind of 40K, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Obviously, some modifications would have to occur, but maybe cool. Whatever. Especially in a pinch, you can get one for you probably get them used for $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
This is in Disney World. They're having this is when the Star Wars weekends start. It may have been last week or it could be this weekend where they have all this. They turned Hollywood Studios on the weekend into basically like a Star Wars Superfest. I'm actually going down there later on this month, and I cannot wait. They have a shopping thing set up. They call it the Darth Mall.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I made that pun today. I can't believe you just said that. That's a real thing?
It's a real thing. It's some section of Hollywood Studios, which I've never been before, so I don't know anything about it. But they turned it into like this Star Wars mega mall that they call the Darth Mall.
That's so dope. I'm hoping like Legos reintroduce some of the stuff again. You know, some of those kits that they did. I was looking them up on like Amazon and eBay, trying to like remember playing with them and stuff. And I was like, man, this brings back so much, and I want to get them again. I have to have them, so I hope that they really release some stuff.
The Lego stuff?
Cool. Yeah.
Man, I built this the droid the Trade Federation droid carrier or whatever.
Okay.
It was like this big. And I kicked myself for even buying it in the first place. I mean, I did get it as a Christmas gift, but for my son. But we built it, and then all the pieces were brown. So about 10 minutes after he built it, or we finished building it, he broke it, and it was just a big bunch of brown Legos.
Big old brown death trap.
Kelly K saying it's Y-wing all day, every day.
That is my favorite fighter. I will say that.
Set the deflector shields on double back with a blaster turret. You know,
ion cannon. Yeah.
He says it can dodge Imperial lasers.
It's strong on X-wing. I will say that.
Yeah, I've got a few too. Just
strong.
Well, guys, we're about to close out this hour. I had a great time riffing on Star Wars stuff. I really appreciate it.
That went quick. Good job.
I mean, I know that this is not our standard fare of talk, but I hope it was at least a little bit entertaining because this is something that's so close to so many of us. And it fell on May the 4th, so whatever. We didn't have to talk about Eldar.
What?
Intervention!
Right?
Intervention!
First turn charge. I can get first turn charges with Eldar.
You snuck that in.
That's right.
You sly dog, you.
You guys got anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Speaking of Super Star Destroyers, there was a video that I saw today. I think Carl put it up on his Facebook page, but it was a Lego Star Destroyer that they dropped like in the movie, and they used a slow-mo camera to capture it destroying itself as it fell.
Yeah, those are like 5 feet long too.
And like $1,000.
Yeah, it's a big kit, man. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I got nothing. I love you guys. Everybody, big hugs. See you
guys. Yeah, again, thanks for joining us
big arms.
here on the live cast. Thanks for contributing, guys. Thanks for all the questions and all the trivia and stuff. I'm gonna go back and I got some things I'm gonna research tomorrow during my breaks at work, of course, not when I'm doing other business.
Yeah, they're playing Stump the Dum Dum tonight.
That's right. There will be no rating on the next episode.
Perfectly accidental.
Guys, y'all have a great rest of y'all's night, and listen to the podcast coming up. We're going to be recording on Wednesday. If anybody got anything they wants to talk about, hit us up on the Facebook. Yep. And then look for us again next Monday night.
Sounds good. May the 4th be with you.
Good night, everybody.